Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the sequel to 2018's Black Panther, the first comic book movie to ever receive a Best Picture nomination, and is once again directed by Ryan Coogler. And Wakanda Forever follows the nation of Wakanda and its warriors fighting to protect their home from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As they strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together to forge a new path for their kingdom. The first Black Panther is easily one of my personal favorite movies to come out of the MCU, and I remember being devastated by the news that Chadwick Boseman passed away back in 2020. He was a legendary actor and was gone too soon. Chadwick helped make T'Challa the impactful character he was, and I feel for Ryan Coogler and all of the cast members of the first movie and this film. I can't begin to imagine what it must have been like to have to make this film while going through such a tragic loss. This is where Wakanda Forever comes in. The film completely revolves around the characters going through the unexpected loss of T'Challa, and the film itself is built as a tribute to Boseman. I think this was a smart direction to take the story in, as now I can immediately relate to them, and the film makes sure to have a clear focus on its characters and the emotions they go through, and there are a ton of great examples of effective development and story moments that give them all the characterization they need. I won't go into spoiler territory, but this film explores some powerful themes throughout its runtime, including loss, grief, moving forward, and the emotions that can come from it. And those parts of the movie that center around those themes and further honor Chadwick are easily the best and most intriguing parts of the film. One thing I especially love about the film is how it takes the slow, serious route it needs to make its story as effective as possible. Unlike most recent superhero films, there is not a large focus on action or comedy. There are a few moments of comedy here and there that are pretty enjoyable, and I'll cover the action a bit, but for the most part, this film is one of the more mature entries in the Marvel franchise, and is able to have a consistent tone and sense of pacing to give the story the focus it needed to have on the aspects it wanted to present. Although I also think the film did not have to be as long as it was. This movie has a runtime of 2 hours and 40 minutes, but the narrative could have been shortened down by 20 minutes. There are a few plot lines that could have been cut down or shifted to make the narrative feel tighter. Also, big props to this movie for being the first comic book film in a while that didn't focus on cameos or fan service to sell the film. Compared to most superhero movies recently, there was no desire to set up future projects, and as you could tell with the direction of the story, there was a true sense of heart and care put into the narrative they wanted to present for the movie. As I said before, this film does not focus too much on action, but that's not to say this film doesn't have a good balance of its emotional core and action sequences. Something that I thought made the action work as well as it did in this film is having it within the isolated nation of Wakanda, which allowed the conflict to be more grounded and feel more natural than most comic book films that want to have an end of the world, giant CGI skybeam conflict to drive the story. I found the action in this movie to be an improvement over the first, both with how it's executed and with the camera work and editing. There was also less CGI used during the fight scenes. One of the biggest issues with the first film was the final fight sequence having an over-reliance on CGI, which looked pretty bad. And while the visuals in this film aren't perfect, they are a noticeable improvement over the first film. The production design in this film is also something to write home about. The sets in this film look gorgeous and full of life, and the costume design looks fantastic. The cinematography is also gorgeous. There are so many beautiful shots in this film that show a great sense of scope and large scale in this film, and create some pure moments of spectacle. There are also some cool moments with the editing, especially during one sequence by the end of the film, which I won't go into because it crosses into spoiler territory. This movie also has an amazing score throughout its runtime, and there are several musical tracks in this film, including Rihanna's Lift Me Up, that enhance a couple of scenes during the movie. Another thing that blew me away about this film is how insanely well acted it is. As I've already said, these characters are given a ton of development throughout the film, with the feelings of loss they are dealing with, and considering what the cast must have been going through with the loss of Chadwick, I can't imagine acting in this film was going to be easy, but they made the journeys and emotions the characters were going through very believable. I think the biggest standout of the film is easily Angela Bassett, who rules every scene she is in and sells every drop of emotion her character possesses. It might even be one of the best performances I've seen in a film this year, with how powerful and full of presence she is whenever she's on screen. Letitia Wright is another standout. Shuri was one of my favorite parts of the first film. I've always loved her performance and character, and it's not an easy task to play a supporting character who's fun and enjoyable, and then have that character move into the spotlight as the main focus. There's always a risk that a change like that might not work, but Wright's performance in this is phenomenal. She's able to convey all the personality Shuri had in the first film and perfectly express the loss she is going through, and her character has the most effective arc of the film. Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia was perfection. She nails this character once again. Danai Gurira was awesome as Okoye. Her character plays an even bigger part in this film, and she gets a ton of moments to shine. And Baku was another character I loved in the original film, and Winston Duke continues to inject so much life into the role. Dominic Thorne was also so much fun as Ironheart, and while she mostly acts as a supporting role in the film, I really enjoyed her in the part, and I wouldn't mind checking out her upcoming Disney Plus show. She's the kind of character I would love to see more of. Tena Chuirda did a great job as Namor, even if the writing didn't give his villain the same kind of presence as Killmonger. But they did give him a motivation for his actions, so he didn't come across as a generic evil guy, and he's a pretty good villain in general. While it could benefit from a tighter narrative, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is just what the MCU needed right now, acting as a perfect tribute to Chadwick Boseman and a satisfying step forward in the franchise, while exploring powerful themes of loss, grief, and the emotions that come from it, all while giving its characters time to shine with some effective development and story moments, resulting in a powerful, emotional experience that had an exceptional amount of heart poured into it. Phase 4 of the MCU might have been a bit of a mess, but they sent it out on the highest note possible, and it's even more impressive how the cast and crew behind this film were able to come together after being dealt such a difficult hand, and put this film together in such a short amount of time while making it come out as great as it did, and it really makes the end product all the more satisfying. This is definitely worth checking out while it's in theaters, as it stands as one of the most emotionally powerful films in the Marvel Universe, while delivering on the spectacle comic book films are known for. I'm going to give Black Panther Wakanda Forever an 8 out of 10. So those are my thoughts on Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Feel free to leave your thoughts on the film in the comments below. Anyways, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and ring on the notification bell to be notified for any upcoming reviews.
Show them who we are.